We had fires on set, new characters, and even Presley without his iconic dresses? Could Lilo and Stitch actually be Disney's best live-action remake? Well, to figure that out, let's go through this fun list of hidden details and curiosities, and in the end, you'll have the final word on whether this will be the best live-action Disney's ever made. And to kick off with this wild ride of fun facts, let's start with Presley. One of the funniest things about him in the animated version was how much he loved wearing dresses and fabulous outfits, especially women's clothing. Pretty fun, right? Well, here's the interesting thing. In this new version, that detail has been, well, toned down. Turns out it just didn't hit the same way in live action. The director even shared a concept art saying, "I tried," showing how the idea didn't quite land. They still gave him some eccentric outfits, just not as over the top as the animated ones. So yeah, Presley was supposed to look like this in a couple of scenes of the recent live action movie. But hey, not everything behind the scenes was sunshine and rainbows. On April 16th, 2023, one of the production trailers caught fire out of nowhere, causing over $200,000 in damages. Thankfully, no one was hurt, but every costume meant for the movie was completely destroyed. It was a huge setback. And the worst part? When authorities looked into it, they didn't call it an accident. It was labeled as arson. Yup. Someone out there really wanted to sabotage Stitch. I wonder who that was. I wonder. And speaking of bummer news, something you might not have known is that the original director of the animated version didn't return to direct the live-action movie. But don't panic. While he's not behind the camera, he did return to lend his voice to Stitch. So yes, Stitch still sounds like Stitch. But here's a sweet touch. The release date of the first trailer matched the birthday of Sanders, the original director. A lovely way to honor his legacy in the franchise. Now, Lilo and Stitch has always been known for silly chaos, and one of the most iconic running gags was the bald guy who kept trying to eat his ice cream, and always dropped it. But in this new version, Disney kept the joke alive. The bald man is back, but now he looks more like a sumo wrestler. And this time, instead of ice cream, he's struggling to eat a Hawaiian shave ice. And spoiler, he still doesn't get to eat it. You might also remember how the aliens in the original had to wear human clothes to blend in with the public. But let's be real, it wasn't super convincing. But somehow it worked in the cartoon. But that wasn't gonna fly in live action. So instead of just outfits, Disney added a new element, a device that makes them appear human. And it's a clever update, and honestly, a smart way to save on visual effects, since this remake had a much smaller budget than other Disney live-action projects. Of course, one of the most noticeable changes involves the characters themselves. We already talked about the ice cream guy, but now let's talk about Cobra Bubbles. In the animated version, Bubbles looked like the kind of guy you don't mess with. I mean, who jokes around with a bald dude like that? He was a social worker, and Nanny was constantly worried he'd take Lilo away. But in this new live-action version, Bubbles has a full redesign. He's got eyebrows, a mustache, and most importantly, he's not even a social worker anymore. He's played by someone else entirely, and turns out to be a CIA agent by the end of the movie. So tell us in the comments, which Cobra Bubbles do you prefer? Mustache or no mustache? Now, not every Disney movie gets top-tier marketing, but Disney went all in for Lilo and Stitch, and gave us one of the best marketing campaigns ever! They released a bunch of posters with Stitch crashing other Disney movies. One where he tries on Cinderella's glass slipper, one biting Snow White's apple, one messing with Aladdin's lamp, and even one munching on Moana's coconut, clearly teasing Disney's upcoming live-action Moana. But they didn't stop there. Stitch was even shown wrecking other movie sets and stealing the spotlight from superheroes. So yeah, Disney had high hopes for Stitch becoming their next big hit. Some fans even thought this might be some sort of crossover event. Now let's talk about Stitch's iconic galactic suit from the animated film. You know, the one where he could store his blasters inside and everything fit perfectly? Well, in this new version, it kinda looks more like pajamas. Yeah, it's a much simpler outfit compared to the awesome suit he had before. But here's the fun detail. They still included his experiment number, 626. So hey, it's the little things that count. Now, here's something you probably didn't even realize. It would have been nearly impossible to make a Lilo and Stitch movie without those legendary Elvis Presley songs. They're part of the movie's soul. But here's the fun fact. This new version also features the voices of real students from one of Hawaii's Kamehameha schools, adding a nice local touch. Now let's talk about some small changes you might have missed. And they're all in Stitch design. For example, if you look closely, his nose is now black instead of the dark blue it was in the original cartoon. And yeah, one change that's pretty obvious is Stitch's size. He looks a lot smaller now. In the original, Lilo and Stitch were about the same height, but in the live action, Stitch definitely shrunk a bit. Still, at least they didn't totally mess him up, like, you know, that one Sonic design. Despite the tweaks, Stitch is still super cute and didn't lose his charm. You might think that every director is on board with Disney's live-action remakes, right? Well, not quite. Back in 2020, when people started speculating about a Lilo and Stitch live-action, someone asked director Dean Deblois what he thought of Disney's trend. He wasn't totally on board. He said it felt kind of lazy, like Disney was missing out on the chance to tell new stories. But plot twist, he later ended up directing the live-action How to Train Your Dragon remake. And his reasoning? If DreamWorks was gonna do it anyway, he'd rather be involved than risk someone else messing up his version. At least he admitted the contradiction himself. So hey, props for the honesty. Of course, you cannot have a Disney remake without Disney references, and one of the clearest nuts is when Stitch starts smashing a sandcastle that, if you look closely, is shaped just like the Disney castle. But that's not the only reference. If you've seen the movie, you'll notice it also pays homage to the iconic scene where Stitch tears apart a tiny model city, just like Godzilla. Nice little throwback, right? And last, but definitely not least, did you know this movie was originally supposed to release exclusively on Disney Plus? Yup. But obviously, someone at Disney realized, wait a second, Stitch is one of our top-selling characters in merch. So why not bring him to the big screen and grab a few extra bucks from the box office? I mean, let's be real, this little blue dude has so much charisma, it's basically impossible not to love him. It's kind of like what happened with Moana 2. Things went so well they had to give it a full theatrical release. No way they've let Stitch skip the spotlight. And that's a wrap, friends. Those were all the cool and maybe surprising details you didn't know about the new Lilo and Stitch movie. But hey, if you've spotted more hidden facts or trivia, drop them in the comments.